Yeah, man. So here we are, back once again for the segment I like to call Who Are We EP3. Who Are We EP3 it has a beautiful ring to it, I know. I would like to today discuss, or maybe not discuss, but go into a further view of us as the government. Yes, indeed, we are the true government. You govern yourself, your mind governs your body, your soul governs that. We have tons of tiny molecular things going on at every moment of the day, every moment of all time, and all those molecular actions that are being done in our body. Hold on, let me show you my pretty face. Let me show you my pretty face. So, we have tiny molecular actions being done at every given moment of every given day, and we're going to go into how those molecular actions are our true government, and we being the bigger version of that molecular thing, we are the bigger version of that small government, and once we come together, that forms a bigger government of the government we are by birth. By being born, you are your own government. You become a government with your mother. Your mother is the first government that you know of. Your mother your mother governed you. She was the governor for you to even be born. She gestated you in her womb. We'll get into all that. So, let's start by that tiny thing we like to call protein. Right now we're looking at a cell on the body. In the body, we know that we are made of cells. We have muscles, organs. Our organs are composed of tons of cells that come together and they make, like your fingers balled up make a fist. Or like your brothers and sisters make up your mom's children. With your mom, you guys make up the family, and, with the dad as well. So by every small version of something being a small version of the bigger thing, we have small versions of things are small versions of big things. Like to say, our family being a government is the same liking to the government you call the United States Corporation. Those are basically mirror images of each other. Now, your family house and the house next to you becomes a what? Street. The street becomes a block. The block becomes a town. The town becomes a city, state, country, and that is small versions being big things. Or everything small is a small version of something big. So here's a cell. Tons of molecular things going on. We got the nucleus in the middle, mitochondria, cell membrane around. Here's the proteins that everyone loves to say they need. I actually wanted to start going into what a protein is, because that will help us immensely when we understand and understand what a government is, okay? So let's do this. What are proteins and what do they do? Here we are at some random health website. Alright, what are proteins? What do they do? Proteins are large, complex molecules that play a critical role in the body. They do most of the work in the cells and are required for the structure, function, and regulation of the body, tissues, and organs. So that sounds like a government to me. I mean, required for the structure. We are required for the structure of the, government. I mean, if you're talking about the United States corporation, calling that a government, then you're talking about a structure, which has a function, and it actually obviously needs regulation. So right here, it's talking about what cells do in the body. They do most of the work in the, I'm sorry, what proteins do in the body. Proteins do in the body. Proteins do most of the work in the cells, and they're required for the structure, the function, and the regulation of the body's tissues and organs, because proteins make up the cells and, well, with other things, and then the cells make up the tissues and the organs. Alright, so those are, everything small is a small version of something big. Proteins are made up of thousands of smaller units. See, even proteins are the bigger version of something small. So we're talking about everything being a smaller version of something big or a bigger version of something small. I'm going to keep saying that because that is the basis of this segment of who are we. We are the small version of something big called the government. You see, you yourself are the small version of that. You do it your own every day by rising with the sun. You call it waking up, but I don't say that word. Well, I just said it, but you get it. Alright, so proteins are made up of thousands or hundreds of thousands of smaller units called amino acids, alright, which are attached to one another in long chains. 20 types of amino acids that can be combined, or there's 20 different types of amino acids that can be combined into a protein. Alright? So, and then the sequence of amino acids determines each protein, okay? So it's different amino acids, 20 different types. Their structure, depending on their structure, makes the type of protein. And there's about a couple of different types of proteins. Antibodies, antibodies bind to specific foreign particles, such as viruses and bacteria, to protect the body. So that sounds like a military type of thing, huh? They're protecting the body. So antibodies are a type of protein that are protecting the body. Wow, that sounds like our military for the United States of America. You know, they got the Navy, the armed forces. Enzymes carry out most of all the thousands of chemical reactions that take place in the body. They also assist with the formation of new molecules by reading the genetic information stored in the DNA. Sounds like what we would call, I don't know, Congress or something like that, carry out most of the thousands of chemical reactions. I mean, I would say like passing bills and, new laws or whatever. The messenger proteins, such as different types of hormones, transmit signals to coordinate biological processes between different cells, tissues, and organs. So that sounds like what? Our media, newspapers, television, the messenger proteins, hormones. What do we do when we watch TV? We get a type of reaction. You see, it might make you feel a way to see something on CNN, and the way that they deliver it, even they know the way that they deliver it will play on your psyche a certain way. Alright, so, and then the structural proteins, these proteins provide structure for the support of the cells. Okay? Let's say that again. The structural component. These proteins provide structure and support for the cells. On a larger scale, they also allow the body to move. So the structural component sounds like we, the people. You feel me? As we, the people, we are the structural component. These proteins provide structure and support of the cells. The cells are what? Bigger versions of proteins and other, molecular, components. So then we got, and on a larger scale, they allow the body to move. So we are the structure. We allow the body to move, but we don't even know the power that we have as the people. See, some of us don't. And that's why I'm doing this, to hopefully, spread some light on anyone that is on that path and that wants to realize their self, true self. Okay, and then there's the transport and storage. These proteins bind and carry atoms to small molecules within cells throughout the body. Sounds like, teachers, schools, transport, storage. These proteins bind and carry atoms to small molecules within the cells throughout the body. So, walk with me. Have this consciousness that I'm trying to embark on you. One more. Protein is considered the building block of life and is found in every cell of the body. Protein is made up of amino acids that are attached to one another in long chains. 20 different types of amino acids, blah, blah, blah. So, that's what I'm saying. Proteins are big versions of amino acids. Now, proteins are in the cells. Let's look at it. Right here. We have cell, protein, 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 proteins. See, there's strings. I'm going to blow it up some more. It's a string of amino acids. This is a string of amino acids. But it's a protein. That's a protein. A string. All that is string. But it's all amino acids. Jumbled up. Binded together. That itself is a government. Like I say, a small family. Your mother, your father, your little brothers, your sisters. That's somebody else's family. That's your neighbors. That's your neighbors. This is a town. This is a street. This is a block. This is a city. You know? And it turns into a whole state. It turns into a whole country. This is a cell. This is just one cell. So this is really just one city or state or stuff or a town. You and your block. These are some more proteins over here. Some more proteins over here. Some chloroplasts. Feel me? Around the nucleus, which is, I would say, the nucleus in this train of thought, in this consciousness, where on this analogy we're using, the nucleus would probably be the collective consciousness that we all have to want a better life, and that we all live here, and you know, so we all obviously are around this one idea of, damn, I'm alive, I have to eat, I have to survive, and, you know, basically being alive is that nucleus. That's life force right there, binding all these things together, creating it in this one focused, you know, in this one focused area. So it all comes to this one focused area around the nucleus, which is just life in general. And that's your town, your homies, your street. This is a street, some mitochondria and some chloroplasts, and that is a town. And then that cell with another cell becomes what? Another town, and then you become an area that becomes a territory, becomes a state, becomes part of a country, which is a ton of states, which would be a ton of cells, making tissues, making organs, making muscles. But if you go down, making muscles, making organs, making tissues, making cells, making proteins, which are made by amino acids. So, small versions of something big. Let's get it. Boom. So here we are, right here. This is a cell. Inside of it. Boom. You got some protein. So here's your cell structure. Here's some protein. In every cell, you're going to find protein. Easy enough? I think so. So you just off of that strength, in every cell there's protein, and every protein is made of amino acids. That is your first government in your body. Because you need cells. You are a ton of cells. Your body is just a ton of cells. But a cell can't be a cell without what? The proteins. Because every cell, you'll find proteins in every cell. But you can't have proteins without amino acids. So it has to go, it has steps, there's levels to this. And without those levels, that's the government. That is what we call the government. It governs something over top of it. I mean, obviously, it don't even govern what's underneath of it. It governs what's over top of it, because without us, it has nothing, no understanding. It has nothing to stand on. You feel me? That's why I say we are the structural proteins, the structural component as the people. We are. So, let's go right here. This is going to be your mom. Let's go here. Yes, you're like, what? My mom? Yes, your mom. Your mama. Your mom. Right here. Let's do, she got a head up here. What's going on with my pen? She got a head. She has some boobies. And then she has you in the belly. Right? This is her eyes. This is her smile. Alright? So here's your mom. She got a nose too. Here's your mom, right? Little nipple, little belly button. Now, you are right here in the womb. Okay, now you're getting somewhere, love child. Now I think I'm walking with you. Yeah, but you had to fill me out first. I threw the whole level out so you can see where I was about to go with it. And now, because if I would have just gone here like, hey, all right, here we go. The government. Here's your mom. I mean, maybe that would have worked, but that's not how my brain works. So, feel me. I just showed you what a cell is and how in every cell is a protein. In every cell there's a protein. But proteins are strings of amino acids. Matter of fact, before we go to your mama, before we talk about your mama, let's talk about this. Boom. String of amino acids. Boom. 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 This is protein. This is a protein. These are amino acids. Look. Amino. Acid. These are amino acids. Boom. Right here. Boom. Right here. Right here. But this whole thing is a protein, my G. You feel me? That's what a protein is. So motherfuckers out here talking about, I need protein, I gotta get... Listen, you need amino acids, because amino acids is what a protein is. But that's not the convo today. It is, but I'm trying to get you in the consciousness that every small thing is a small version of something big. And every big thing is a big version of something small. So here we have a string of amino acids making proteins. Back to your mother. She is a being, when she had you in the belly to gestate you, okay? That's to say that, what? In every cell there's always a protein. Now in every woman, she was born with every single one of her ovate cells that she would ever have, which is to say her potential children. So she's born with every ovate cell. So honestly, this could be your grandma. Alright? Let's fill this out. Grandma. I'm putting it up there. G. Alright. Grandma. This is your grandma. Let's do that. And if she's your grandma, this is your mom in here. But you are a tiny little dot in your mom's belly. She was already gestating, well, she wasn't gestating you, but she already had you in her molecular structure by way of your grandma gestating her and embedding that molecular structure, that DNA, that code, you see? That is the government. That's the first government that you know of, that you are a part of. That's the first government you're a part of. And if you don't acknowledge that, you're in breach of a contract with the cosmos. Now, what do I mean by that? Our women on earth made a pact with the Almighty to come through this reality as the vessels to bear more vessels. I didn't make that pact this time around. I didn't make that contract this life. You see, it's all one life, but this time I came back into life. I did not make that pact to come and be a woman and give more children to this world. I didn't do that. Every woman in the whole nother side of the veil consciously decided that when they came to this side of the veil, they would be the ones to beget more life. That's a contract with the universe that they made just by being born a woman. Like, yeah, I can't do that, so I didn't sign that John. You signed the John. You got the John. You can do the John, so I can't. So that's a contract. Now, what is the first contract that governments have? A constitution. The Constitution is the contract for the United States of America. Okay, that's the contract that the states made. That's the contract that they made with, the beings on this land too. It's a contract for them to do business on this land and to occupy this land. The contract is the Constitution. The contract for your mom was that she came out a woman from another woman. She came from another woman to be this woman and give life to you, whether you're a man or a female, whether you're male or female. Now you have to respect that government. I'm not saying you got to call your mom all the time and talk to her all the time. I'm saying that you need to respect the fact that the woman begets life on this plane, and you are already part of a government. So man cannot serve two masters, you see. The United States Corporation is specifically that. It's a corporation. It's a building or many buildings that has a payroll. People go for work. Yes, it does enact and forcefully make statutes and codes that people have to live by, because they also have, a militia with people with guns that travel around and make sure you're upholding the United States codes, United States Corporation's codes. They got the city police, they got the state troopers, you feel me? They got the feds, the FBI, and a couple other joints. The CIA, they got tons of people with guns that work for the corporation. They get paid by the United States Corporation to make sure that you are abiding by these corporations' codes because you claim to be part of this corporation. You call it a government. It is a government technically, but it is more specifically a corporation run by people that pays people. You dig? So if you didn't think about that before, think about that. And by being a part of that quote-unquote government, which is more specifically a corporation, you are not honoring your foremothers and forefathers, because you are already a part of a government. You govern yourself, and the only way you can govern yourself is because your mother gave you molecular instructions. She gave your cells cellular instructions on how to grow, how your heart should beat. That was probably the first instruction that your cells got from the government. It was inside of a body politic. You dig? You gotta have watched Who Are We 1 and 2. You gotta have watched Who Are We Part 1 and Part 2. Because I'm already on the Part 3, so please go watch those. You know what I'm saying? Or just go study something else and find what I'm talking about a body politic and what a government is and what a state is technically in law in the dictionaries. Not the land you're thinking about. The land is the land, but the state is a mind state. And you're in the mind state that you're calling a corporation. You're a government, but you are already part of one. Your mother gave you the instructions on how your heart should even beat in the first place. That was the first instructions that you got from your government. You were a ton of cells in her womb. She got pregnant. In a couple of, you call it weeks, I say strongs. In a couple of strongs or weeks for you, if you think that way, she started, that being in her started getting instructions from its environment, from its state, that it should start beating. It has a pulse now. And then in a while it'll start what? Having eyes and grow fingernails, and it'll start kicking upon the frequency that it is being gestated in. Your mother's the first governor. She decides what happens in the state. It's a mayor of the town, but it's a governor of the state governor, right? I believe so. So your mother governed your state. Your state was growing. Your state was, I'm a fetus. Your state was, I'm a few cells. I'm 2 cells that need to split into 4. Your state was, I'm a 4 cells that need to split into 8. Your state was, I'm a fetus. She don't need to be drinking alcohol or doing hard drugs. You see? And then if she, as the governor, if she decided to, she would have compromised that state of the being. You grew as according to the instructions you got from that environment, from that state of existence, that state of your mom's mind state. You grew from that first. So that's your first government. Now in here, we're talking about your grandma. So before your mom even had you, she was being had. And if your mom's a mom, if your mom's a mom, right, then she's a girl. And she had what? All of her ovate cells in her already. Maybe I should blow this up. I don't know if y'all can see that. I got the... Hold up. Let me see if y'all can see. I think y'all can see. It's a circle in a circle. I'll take it out. I'll take it out and I'll blow it up. Like right over here. It's your mom with her. It's your grandma's belly with your mom inside, and all of her ovate cells were already in there, already in comprising her, because like I said, that's a contract every woman made with the cosmos. To be born a woman, you beget more life. You are the only vessel that life can come from. Every species is, females of that species is the one that gives life through that species. Ain't no male of no species giving no life to no species. So she decided she was going to be a woman at some point in her gestation, because we all start as females in the womb. Did you know that? So stop. We all started as a female in the womb, baby. No pun intended. So if we all started as a female in the womb, but then some point in the gestation, one of us decided to become a woman and to beget more life when we are born and grow up. So that's what your mom did. She decided, she made that contract with the cosmos. She made a pact with the universe to become a woman. As she's growing more and more in your grandmother's womb, she's growing more and more, she gets more instructions from her environment, more instructions from her government, and that grows her ovary cells, that begets her ovary or her ova cells, which is to say her potential children. So, moving on. Isn't that a great analogy for how the first government you are a part of is your grandmother's? Your grandmother who gave life to your mother, who gave life to you. And you're talking about the government shut down. The government shut down? That's crazy. I mean, I'm sorry for your loss if your mom's or grandmom's not here. But you're still alive, so the government is not shut down. The government is still here. The government's still moving. To keep on that one little, let's put a pin in that and say the government's still here, the government's still moving. Wait, aren't there still so-called policy enforcers? Police says policy, you spell it. P-O-L, Paul, I-S, I-C, police, P-O-L-I-C, police, and then you got the E at the end, so it's police-E. So you got those police-E dudes, policy dudes outside, still driving around, whoop whoop, pulling people over, doing what they do. The government ain't shut down, buddy. They lying to you. Actually, no, they're telling you the truth. They're telling you, hey, yeah, the government shut down. It's been shut down. Congress adjourned sine die, you know. Pope's letter, 2014, you dig? Government been shut down. They're still operating on fraud even when they tell you that they shut down. United States corporation that you call a government. It is, technically, it does govern things. It governs their employees. It governs their, not only does it govern their employees, it governs everyone that decides to abide by its rules, because it's a contract. Verbal sometimes, but it's a contract. As soon as you agree to it verbally, you made a contract. But you can't, you agreed to this on the other side of the veil. Your mom's contract, your grandmother's contract. You agreed to be part of that government, part of your lineage, your heritage, your nationality. You agreed to be that on the other side of the veil. Long, long, long time ago, too, because you've been here many times. And you came back as a male or female, and depending on which of those two, I want you to really take this consciousness, because as a male, we need to protect our government, which is the women that give more life. And as a female, you need to, we need our females to get their states together. See, that's our states. Our females are the states. We need to get their mind states right so that they give life to babies, and while they're even in the womb, they're giving some good old instructions to that next being. Good old instructions to that molecular structure that's growing based on its environment. Consciously, I want our next generation to be on some next level shit as far as the way they think. But we need pregnant women thinking next level. We don't need pregnant women thinking lower vibration. They're going to beget lower vibrational beings, entities, life. We need higher vibrational pregnant women. Then giving life to higher vibrational beings, and then teaching those beings that are already programmed at a higher frequency, because they were being programmed, with a higher consciousness. And then once you get that baby, you can start teaching them, and they're going to be way ahead of the game, way more apt to learning this stuff from the jump if their parents are already on it, especially if their parents were on it while they were pregnant with them. And it's like that. This is our government. We are the people, man. Your cells, let's go back to the cells. Your cells, or your proteins do what? Your proteins do most of the work in the cells and are required. Your proteins are required for the function and the regulation of the body's tissues, okay, and the body's cells, or the organs. So they do all the work in the cells. Cells are just smaller versions of the organs and the tissues. Tissues make organs. If you don't get this, please let a brother know. If you hate this analogy, please let a brother know. Ultimately, I just want us to realize that we are the proteins. Our cities, our states, let me go back to it, I'm sorry. Our states, this is the state. This is, if you wanna call the land that you're on a state, you know, okay, I'll go with that consciousness for now, because states aren't necessarily too tangible. It's more of a, it's a condition. A state is a condition of something. Now, given the performance in the structure of all the proteins, the amino acids in the proteins that make up the proteins, given that, the state of those, then we can then talk about this whole thing, the state of the cell, which combined with another cell is going to make tissues. With more cells make tissues, and more of tissues make organs. So, who are we? Well, we're the structural component. We're the proteins that provide structure and support for the cells. And on a larger scale, we allow the body to move. So, I want us all to get this. This nucleus of the cell is, like I said before, just the consciousness of life, the consciousness of the fact that we ought to live, and we're all in the same place in the world. You might be in Taiwan, but you and your neighbors, same basis is the fact that you're alive. You woke up, you rose today. So since you rose today, and so did your neighbor and their neighbor, the fact of life is what brings you guys, unless you decide to move to the next city or country or state, you're here, you're alive, and that's what keeps everything in or surrounding the nucleus. I mean, if not, where else would it go? Somewhere else, to another cell maybe. It would be somewhere else. It would just, or it just wouldn't exist. See? But the nucleus is life, and that's why all life has a nucleus. It's like every atom. Well, common sense would say, well, that just is what life is. It's just, and then life all gravitates towards that. Like, oh shit, life going on or something? Like something going on, and like everybody like, what's over there? Like, yeah, that's what the nucleus is. So you and your family, which is just a ton of amino acids, creating a protein, and then your neighbor's family, which is just a ton of amino acids, creating a protein. All you do is make signal sequence proteins. Or all you do is make a group of people that occupy a certain territory. We're going to call that proteins in a cell. So, rock with me, y'all. I'm the, manatee, in love with man and woman and humanity and manatees, because I'm just trying to save the planet. Very quick build, man. Just rock with the kid, man. Rock with me. There's the manatee. You You know you love manatees. I'm trying to save the planet and humanity and all living things. So, love, much bliss. I would say peace, but I want you to have it all. You know what I mean? So, I appreciate everyone's full undivided attention today. It was beautiful, beautiful build. You know. When's the next time I'll talk to you? You gonna watch Who Are We EP4? Hope so. Alright.